I showed up at my boyfriend Leo's father's birthday party, gifts in hand, ready to celebrate, but when the banquet was about to start, I found his childhood sweetheart, Sophie, sitting in my seat. Then, Leo's father looked at me and said, "Chloe, there's no more room at the table. Besides, you don't know any of our relatives, so why don't you go eat in the kitchen?" He then turned, took the expensive gifts I had brought, and stuffed them into Sophie's hands. "Here, Sophie, take these. They're nothing fancy, just some snacks for your father." In a flash of anger, I flipped the entire table over. "This table is too small anyway. The plaza downstairs is much bigger. Why don't you all go line up and eat along the curb?" After I sent the banquet crashing to the floor, the entire family froze in shock, especially Leo's parents. They were from the countryside and had thrown this party in the city, for the sole purpose of collecting cash gifts from their guests. "Chloe, how can you be so rude?" his mother shrieked. "Didn't your parents teach you to respect your elders? If you want to marry into our family, you have to follow our rules, and that means women don't eat at the main table." "Exactly," his father chimed in, glaring at me. "She's not even married to Leo yet, and she's already throwing tantrums like this. We can't have a daughter-in-law like her, wasting all this money, making a scene over nothing. Sophie is so much better." "Dad, stop it. Chloe didn't mean it," Leo said, his face pale. He shot a look at his father before turning to me. "Chloe, just apologize to my parents, and we can move on." But his eyes were filled with embarrassment and impatience, screaming the words unreasonable and melodramatic. This was a far cry from the man who had begged me to come to this birthday party just yesterday. Suddenly, looking at the expressions on their faces, I understood. This wasn't a celebration. It was a power play. They had lured me here to test my limits, to put me in my place and show me that their family wasn't one to be trifled with. The funny thing was, I never had any intention of marrying Leo. I know the difference between a boyfriend and a husband. What fantasy were they living in? "Uncle, Auntie, let me be honest," I said calmly. "We have no real connection. I only came because Leo begged me to. Respect has to be mutual. I worked hard helping you prepare for this banquet, and not only did you not thank me, but you slapped me in the face in front of everyone. The old feudal days are long over, yet you're still clinging to these disgusting traditions. Since you love Sophie so much, I wish Leo and Sophie a long and happy life together." With that, I walked to the door and tore down the menu they had posted. "And another thing," I announced to the room, "you used 18,888 hotel points to pay for this banquet you're charging your friends for. I didn't waste your money, I wasted points, and since it bothers you so much, I'll give them back to you." As I spoke, the faces of the guests turned sour. They had each given 500 in gift money, only to find out they were eating a meal redeemed with loyalty points. "Old man, this is just wrong," one of his friends grumbled, furious that he'd been duped. "The girl did nothing wrong. If you have a problem with her, you should have handled it privately, not embarrassed her like this." But what they didn't know was that while the menu said it was a points-based meal, I had secretly arranged with the manager to upgrade everything. I wanted to make sure Leo's father had a proper birthday celebration, one that wouldn't be an embarrassment. My kindness was repaid with public humiliation and a pathetic attempt to control me. This whole thing started a week ago when Leo asked me to come to his father's 60th birthday. I was hesitant at first. We had been dating for a year and had a good relationship, but we'd never formally met each other's parents. Attending a major family event felt like a huge step, but Leo pleaded with me. "Chloe," he said, "my parents have been pressuring me to go on blind dates. I need my official girlfriend to make an appearance." I finally agreed. To make a good impression, I spent a fortune on high-end health supplements and even brought a box of rare cordyceps my father had recently received. I arrived at the hotel 2 hours early to help his parents. Their original booking was for a standard private room, paid for with points. Not wanting Leo to lose face, I quietly spoke to the manager, a family friend, and had them upgraded to the VIP suite, with all the seafood dishes swapped for premium selections, all on my tab. And this is how they repaid me. As I left the hotel, I made good on my promise. I had the manager deduct 18,888 points from my account and credit them to Leo's family. "Ms. Lynn," the manager asked, looking at the mess on the floor and the dishes that hadn't even been served, "what should we do with all this food?" I saw a flash of greed in Leo's mother's eyes. "Feed it to the dogs," I said without a second thought. The hotel partners with a local animal shelter, and plenty of strays were going hungry. They could rinse the food and give it to them. I was about to walk out when I remembered something. I turned back, And Leo's face was twisted in a sneer. What is it? Chloe, realize you were wrong. If you apologize to my parents nicely, I might forgive you. I walked straight past him to Sophie and snatched the gift box from her hands. Forgive me, go tell that to the dogs. Even they would probably puke if they knew they were eating your leftovers. I felt powerful walking out of that hotel, but a moment later, I was kicking myself. I should have been tougher. I should have smashed that Boston lobster right on Leo's thick, skinned face. Maybe the claws would have punctured his ego. When I got home, my dad saw me carrying the untouched box of cordyceps and raised an eyebrow. It seems some people aren't fortunate enough to enjoy my prized cordyceps. Yes, you can have them back for your special tea, I retorted, rolling my eyes. Anyone else would use them for a nourishing soup, but my dad just liked to steep them in hot water. He was used to my attitude, which had been sour ever since he started pushing me to go on dates and find a partner. The breakup with Leo stung. I flopped onto my bed and took a sad bite of tiramisu, which only made me feel worse. Why is it so hard to find a decent guy looking for a meal ticket these days? He was the third one I'd tried out, and this one almost made it a full year before he decided to dance all over my boundaries. The next morning, I stepped into the elevator at work, and of course, Leo was walking toward it, holding hands with Sophie. I jammed the closed door button, but it was too late. Sophie squeezed in, a sickeningly sweet smile on her face. Oh, Chloe, you work here too. I almost forgot you and Leo were colleagues. You two should stay friends even after breaking up. Okay, Leo and I had kept our year-long relationship a secret at the office. We both agreed that office romances could get messy, whether they ended in marriage or a breakup. He was adamant about keeping it private, worried it would affect his career. I was fine with it. It left me free to flirt with the cute new guys at the office. At Sophie's words, a flash of annoyance crossed Leo's face. Sophie, don't joke like that, he said quickly. Chloe and I are just colleagues. We have a great professional relationship. Don't you dare drag me into your lies. I snapped. I work on the 11th floor. You work on the 10th. How great can our relationship be? It's not like you can break through the ceiling to chat. A colleague standing behind us gave me a subtle thumbs up. By noon, the office gossip mill was churning. Leo was trying to impress his new girlfriend, Sophie, by putting down Chloe from the 11th floor. That afternoon, Sophie was formally introduced to our department as the new intern. The moment our manager left, the whispers started. I saw her this morning getting out of the VP's car. They had the same last name, Miller. You don't think she's the VP's daughter? Just here to experience real life, do you? Sophie, overhearing this, puffed up with pride and marched over to my desk. Chloe, which coffee shop downstairs is the best? I don't know my way around. Why don't you go grab a coffee for everyone? My treat. A little welcome gift from me. The office fell silent. A new intern ordering a senior employee to do a coffee run was a bold move, but no one said a word. Who would turn down free coffee? Sophie watched me, a smug look on her face, clearly trying to get her revenge for the scene at the restaurant. Before I could reply, someone else spoke up. I'll go. I know all the best spots. There's one with a new specialty drink today. It's 98 a cup. The speaker was Noah, an intern who had started a month before Sophie. He was handsome, quick-witted, and always knew the right thing to say. Really, thanks, Noah, someone cheered. $98 a cup. There were 33 people in our department. That's over 3,200. Who spends that kind of money on a coffee run? Sophie's face turned green, but she pulled out her phone and transferred 3,300 to Noah, trying to look generous. And with the change, maybe you can get us some pastries too, she added. Noah didn't miss a beat. I don't think that will be enough, Sophie. After buying 33 coffees, there's only about 66 left. That's not even enough to get everyone a bag of chips. All eyes turned to Sophie. Her face was now a dark shade of black. Then you don't get one, she snapped, storming back to her desk. I had to bite my lip to keep from laughing. This kid was my new hero, a master of office politics. I went with Noah to pick up the coffee. I was expecting some fancy new artisan shop, but he led me straight to our usual spot downstairs. And there it was on the menu, a new drink listed for 98. The line was surprisingly long. You've got to be kidding me, I muttered. People are actually paying 98 for instant coffee. Even with my money, I couldn't stand to see people get ripped off like that. Noah glanced around, then nudged me closer. He leaned in, his breath warm against my ear. Chloe, he whispered, it's listed at 98, but it's 90% off today. How about I use the leftover money to treat you to an all-you-can-eat seafood buffet tonight? And I promise, it's not paid for with points. The mention of points felt like a lightning strike. My cover was blown. This kid had been in the restaurant yesterday, watching the whole drama unfold. Forget the buffet, I said, recovering quickly. Let's just split the leftover cash. 50-50, you can keep the change. We'll pretend this conversation never happened. Lured by the prospect of an easy $1,000, I pushed my embarrassment aside. Noah looked stunned by my blunt refusal, and his smile faltered. He bumped my shoulder and walked away, suddenly moody. I had no idea what his problem was. When we got back with the coffee, Sophie was already surrounded by a flock of new admirers, all calling her sis. They took the coffees from us, showering Sophie with thanks, completely forgetting that Noah and I had carried them all the way, from downstairs. It was their usual coffee shop, but they were all praising the 9.80 coffee as if it were a 98 luxury. Noah was right. Nobody cared what the coffee actually cost. They only cared about what they thought it cost. Sucking up to the powerful and stepping on the weak. That was just another day at the office. As I was leaving work that evening, I saw Leo's parents waiting by the entrance. The moment they spotted me, their faces soured. "Chloe, you're unbelievable," his mother started. "We made it very clear yesterday that you and Leo are not a good match. Why are you still desperately clinging to him?" They saw me leaving my office building and assumed I was there to stalk their son. After a year of dating, Leo hadn't even bothered to tell them we were colleagues. "Excuse me," I said. "I work here. Why wouldn't I be here? Your son doesn't own the building. And as for me clinging to him, are you forgetting that he once kneeled in the middle of a shopping mall to beg me to be his girlfriend? I still have the video, if you'd like to see it. Honestly, I thought we had settled this yesterday. I wasn't so in love with Leo that I couldn't live without him. Their behavior had angered me, but I was ready to move on. But from the elevator this morning to the coffee stunt, they just kept pushing me, reminding me that I had been cheated on. If I didn't fight back now, I'd be a total doormat." It was rush hour, and a crowd of colleagues was gathering, their ears perked for the drama. After all, Leo had carefully crafted an image at work as a charming, single, successful man. Wait, Leo dated Chloe, and his parents looked down on her, someone whispered. "I know, right, he's from out of town. What gives his family the right to be so picky?" Chloe's family might not be super rich, but at least she's a local with property. Just then, Leo himself arrived. Having heard the commotion, he walked straight to me, his expression apologetic. "Chloe, don't mind them. My parents aren't educated like you. They don't know how to talk to people." How disgusting. He was trying to frame it so that if I argued with his uneducated parents, I would be the one in the wrong. "You've got to be kidding me, Leo," I shot back, my voice rising. "When your parents were yelling at me in front of everyone, you didn't seem to think they were uneducated. I did everything you wanted in this relationship. I kept it secret. I wasn't clingy. You begged me to come to your dad's birthday. I bought expensive gifts. I showed up early to help. And how did your family treat me? Your dad said I didn't know the relatives so I couldn't sit at the table. He gave my seat to your childhood sweetheart and told me to eat in the kitchen. How could you let that happen? And what about all your promises when you were chasing me? You said you didn't have money or status, but you had a heart full of love for me and would always treat me right. Now you're showing up to work holding hands with Sophie. Do you think I'm blind?" I stared at him with pure contempt. How had I never seen how two-faced he truly was? Leo was speechless. He never expected me to air all his dirty laundry in front of the entire company. His eyes turned red with rage, and without thinking, he lunged at me, his hand raised to strike. It happened so fast. One moment he was across from me, the next he was right in my face, his hand swinging toward my cheek. I froze, bracing for the impact, my mind racing. If he dared to hit me, I'd have my father break his legs tomorrow. But the slap never came. Instead, I heard Leo cry out in pain, followed by his parents' screams. I opened my eyes to see Leo sprawled on the ground 10 feet away. Standing beside me, pulling back his leg, was Noah. "Hey, Chloe," Noah said with a grin, striking a playful martial arts pose. "What do you think of my Taekwondo black belt? Is it impressive enough to earn me that dinner now?" Leo, clutching his stomach, let his mask of civility fall away completely. "You witch, Chloe," he snarled. "You ruined my father's birthday. We broke up because of you, and now you're already with another man, ganging up on me. I'm going to sue you." "Go ahead," I dared him. "I beg you to sue me. The company's security cameras will clearly show that you attacked me first, and Noah was just defending me. And if you fail to sue me, I will sue you until you are bankrupt." I strode over to him and slapped him hard across the face. The commotion had drawn an even larger crowd. Everyone loves a good show. I gave you a chance to walk away with your dignity yesterday, but you threw it away, I announced to the audience. So now, let me make things perfectly clear. Yes, we broke up yesterday, but you've been sneaking around with your dear Sophie for a lot longer than that, haven't you? I got you the job at this company. You begged me to go to your father's birthday. And what did your family do? You used reward points for the meal while taking cash gifts from your friends. I spent my own money to upgrade everything to save you from embarrassment. And in return, your father told me to eat in the kitchen while he gave my gifts to another woman. You think I didn't have the right to flip that table? I paid for that food. I could do whatever I wanted with it. And yes, I had it all thrown out and fed to the dogs. Better them than a pack of ungrateful animals like you. With every word, the expressions on my colleagues' faces shifted from curiosity to disgust. They stared at Leo and his family with contempt. Someone even took out their phone to record the scene. Most of them were young and dating, and the thought of ending up with someone like Leo was horrifying. Humiliated and exposed, Leo flew into a rage. Finally, he screamed, his face contorted. The truth comes out. You've always looked down on me, haven't you? Just because I'm not from this city, you have no right to look down on us. We are good, kind-hearted people. It was almost funny. Even now, he refused to admit he was wrong, instead trying to paint me as a snob and play the victim card. Oh, shut up, a woman in the crowd yelled. You're an embarrassment to hardworking people everywhere. We all came to this city to build a life. Only a petty little man like you would try to use that as an excuse for your disgusting behavior. My coffee is too hot. Can someone hold this for me? A sweet voice said beside me. A young woman held out a steaming cup. I took it, and in one swift motion, flung its contents directly onto Leo's head. Oops, it really was hot, I said, feigning innocence as the brown liquid dripped down his face. I batted my eyelashes. So sorry about that, Leo, but you won't mind, right? After all, you're one of the kind-hearted ones. Leo stood there, drenched and defeated, his eyes burning with hatred. Chloe, you just wait. I'll get you back for this if it's the last thing I do. I just raised an eyebrow. You don't have to get me back. Just stick with your little sweetheart and her VP father. Maybe next month your last name will be Miller. I smiled sweetly, assuming, of course, she really has a VP for a dad. The next morning, Sophie cornered me in the elevator, her attitude insufferable. Chloe, how dare you treat Leo like that yesterday? Do you have any idea who I am? I'll have my dad fire you. Oh, I'm so scared, I said, not even bothering to look at her. But next time you deliver a threat, maybe you should ask your dad if he actually has the authority to fire anyone he wants. This isn't a family-owned lemonade stand. I was hired through the official channels. They couldn't fire me without just cause. And upsetting the VP's daughter's boyfriend wasn't on the list. Sophie was stunned that her threat had no effect. She gave me a furious glare and stomped away on her high heels. After the morning meeting, the VP, Mr. Miller, asked me to stay behind. He pulled the blinds of the conference room shut, and my colleagues shot me pitying glances. Sophie and Leo looked on with smug satisfaction. I had assumed that a man in his position would have more sense than to get involved in his daughter's petty drama. I was wrong. The apple, it turned out, hadn't fallen far from the tree. Chloe, Mr. Miller said, his tone cold and final. I think it's best if you go to HR and process your resignation. I will personally compensate you with 3 months' salary. I couldn't believe it. He was actually firing me for the exact ridiculous reason I had imagined. With all due respect, Mr. Miller, I began. Leo was my boyfriend until 2 days ago. Your daughter is dating him now, which would make her the other woman, wouldn't it? As her father, shouldn't you be cleaning up her mess instead of helping her make it worse? How did this man ever become a vice president? My daughter gets what she wants, he said, his voice laced with a veiled threat. When you reach my level, you can lecture me. Right now, I can crush you with one finger. So be smart. Resign quietly. You'll want to find a new job eventually, and a bad reference from me won't help. He was trying to intimidate me, betting I wouldn't dare to fight back. By resigning, I wouldn't even be eligible for severance pay from the company. You heard him, Chloe. Leo sneered, crossing his arms. Just resign. If you apologize to me now, maybe I'll ask Mr. Miller to give you an extra month's pay. I felt a wave of nausea. A cheating boyfriend was one thing, but a corrupt and nepotistic boss was another level of disgusting. Well, thank you both so much, I said, a slow smile spreading across my face. Luckily, I had come prepared. What are you smiling about? Leo asked, confused. In his mind, I was a defeated dog with its tail between its legs. I'm smiling because a grand finale is about to begin, I said. And I'm smiling because you, Leo, are pathetic trash. I casually raised the blinds and opened the conference room door. Outside, the office was packed with employees from our floor and the floors above and below. My last words, pathetic trash, echoed through the silent hall from the overhead speakers. Showtime. When Mr. Miller had asked me to stay, I had discreetly connected my phone to the company's PA system via Bluetooth. Every word of his threats, his illegal termination, had been broadcast throughout the entire building. The conference room was soundproof, so they had no idea. The three of them stared, dumbfounded. Mr. Miller's face went white. He had assumed I was a powerless little employee he could easily dispose of. He never imagined I would broadcast his corruption to everyone. Chloe, let's talk about this calmly. That's not what I meant, he stammered, sweat beading on his forehead. His carefully crafted image as a kind, supportive boss was shattering before his eyes. Then what did you mean, Mr. Miller? I asked, my smile never wavering. Just then, the head of HR arrived. Mr. Miller panicked. If HR escorted me out now, it would confirm everything. He had to deny it. Chloe, I think you misunderstood. We were just joking. It was a rehearsal for a skit for the company's annual party. That wasn't very funny, I said flatly. His face turned a shade of purple. Chloe, I made a mistake. You don't have to resign. I cut him off, shaking my finger. You're right, Mr. Miller. I won't be resigning, but you will be fired. Impossible, he scoffed. Only the chairman has the authority to fire me. As if on cue, a flurry of email notifications chimed from phones all around the office. The head of HR stepped forward, holding an official document. As you've all just seen in the company-wide email, she announced, her voice ringing with authority. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our new chairwoman, Ms. Chloe Lynn. In the dead silence that followed, Leo knocked over a chair. He stared at me, his face a mask of pure, panicked disbelief. No, it's impossible. Sophie crumpled to the floor, her victory from 5 minutes ago turning to ash. How could I have gone from being fired to being the chairwoman? Why is it impossible? I asked, finally letting my smile drop. You're allowed to have a VP for a dad, but I'm not allowed to have a chairman for a dad. I turned and walked out of the conference room, without giving them another glance. As the new chairwoman, I had more important things to do than deal with their mess. I would leave that to the professionals. My first act as chairwoman was to fire David Miller. My second was to endure a gloating phone call from my father. Chloe, I stood up for you. You'd better thank your dear old dad, he crowed. Oh, I'm so grateful, I said through gritted teeth. Congratulations on finally getting what you wanted. He had been trying to dump the company on me since I turned 18. I had always used the excuse that I wasn't settled down yet. While other kids dreamed of becoming a chairman, my biggest nightmare was becoming one. So, when I graduated, I made a bet with him. If I could find him a suitable son-in-law to take over the company, he would leave me alone. And so began my quest to find the perfect man who was looking for a meal ticket. Leo had been a promising candidate for nearly a year. He met all my criteria, and I had been quietly mentoring him at the company. His invitation to his father's birthday was meant to be his final test. I already knew he was seeing Sophie on the side. He claimed she was just a family friend, but I wanted to see how he would handle the situation. My plan was to reveal my identity after meeting his parents and, if he passed the test, offer him the future I had planned. But then his family had humiliated me, proving they saw me as nothing more than a stepping stone. Even so, I was willing to let it go, considering I had approached him with ulterior motives myself. The world is full of strange and disappointing people, but Leo and his family just couldn't leave it alone. My promotion sent waves through the company, but the gossip quickly died down. The day after David Miller was fired, he was arrested. I submitted all the evidence I had collected on his long history of embezzlement and taking kickbacks. I had been gathering it for years, ever since I started working under him, but I never exposed him because I didn't want to inherit the company. I have Sophie to thank. Really, if she hadn't tried to expense that 3,300 coffee run using a receipt her father had signed off on, I wouldn't have gotten the final piece of evidence so quickly. Sophie's internship was terminated when it was discovered her university degree was a forgery. She had faked her entire resume, and the bombshells kept coming. On the day of David Miller's sentencing, his wife of 30 years filed for divorce in the courthouse, revealing that he was not Sophie's father. Sophie was his illegitimate daughter from an affair. Leo's fate was the most pathetic of all. After I became chairwoman, He would follow me around the office with a look of lovesick regret, which only made me sick to my stomach. He even confronted me once, trying to play the victim. "Chloe, don't you remember how much we loved each other? Sophie and I were just friends." I raised an eyebrow. "Love? Are you talking about the time your dad told me I wasn't worthy of sitting at his table? Or the time you and Sophie tried to force me to resign?" He was speechless. He had tried to climb the social ladder by stepping on me, only to find out the branch he was reaching for was rotten, sending him crashing back to nothing. "If you had just told me the truth about who you were, none of this would have happened," he insisted, his expression turning stubborn. "We were in love. You deceived me. This is all your fault." "Let me get this straight," I said, finally done with his nonsense. "When I'm the chairman's daughter, we're in love. When I'm not, I'm just an obstacle between you and the VP's daughter. So, who do you love, Leo, the chairman or the VP?" I had no more time for him. "You know what? You have bigger things to worry about. I suggest you resign. I'm not interested in settling the score right now, so you should probably disappear before I change my mind. You wouldn't want to end up like David Miller, would you?" I leaned in. "And I seem to recall you spending quite a bit of money trying to impress Sophie. I wonder where all that cash came from. I think I'll have our accounting department take a little look." The color drained from his face. He knew he was done. Sometime later, I saw Sophie again at an industry summit. She was working as a waitress, her former glamour replaced by a cheap, caked-on layer of makeup that made her look years older. I overheard her on the phone, hiding in a corner. "Leo, I don't have any money. Stop calling me." So, they were still stuck with each other. Good, they deserved it. But my attention was quickly drawn to someone else in the room, a figure that truly surprised me. Noah. He had quit his internship the day after I became chairwoman, disappearing without a word, and now, here he was, dressed in a sharp suit, confidently leading a delegation from a major partner company. He was a rising star. Our eyes met across the crowded room. I saw his lips move, forming silent words that I understood perfectly. "Chloe," he mouthed, a slow smile spreading across his face, "am I qualified to buy you dinner now?"